Hi guys, let's talk about Senegal. I bought these things. I don't know what to do with them, but if any of you know how to use them, you can teach me. Anyway, Senegal was super cool. We had 6 people on the team. It was me and one other intercessor named Marta, who was in her everyday life an art therapist. And together we prayed and we prayed in the morning and then got to be the part of the conference at night. And it was really cool to just be with her to pray. We painted, we danced, we drew. We went on a lot of prayer walks, and yeah, it was really a blessing to be able to pray with her and to watch God speak to both of us individually and how they connected together, and how then at the conference they would talk about the same thing that we prayed about. And I'm like, Jesus. So it was super cool to be a part of it in that way. And then we had Matt, and he was our team leader, and he kept us as a team. He is from Canada, but he lives in the US. He works with OM Inspiro. He's the leader of Inspiro, so the Art Alliance of OM. And he came on the conference because he wanted to know how trauma and art can connect. And so, yeah, he was our leader. He led devotions and conversations, and it was super humble leader. Really appreciated him and the way that he led our team. And then we had 2 professors, the ones in charge of the conference, the ones that taught the conference. One was a counselor who works with as a trauma counselor for Wycliffe Bible Translators or SIL, and she was super cool. Her name was Karen. And then we had Beth, and Beth was is a professor at DIU, and she is a professor of healing of trauma and arts. And so those 2 were the teachers. They taught the conference. They knew so much. There were such intelligent women that really knew what they were talking about. And then we had Yunhee, who was being mentored by these 2 professors. She's from Korea, but she has taken the trauma arts trauma arts course, because it's actually a college level course. The conference is just a part of something that comes from it, but it's a master level course. And so she took it and is now working on learning how she could actually facilitate a conference like this. And so she was super cool. She connected with everyone, made friends with everyone, and that was such a blessing. And it was so much fun. Having lunch with this group of people was amazing, because they were all so smart, and they all knew so much about therapy and counseling and your brain and your trauma and art and all these things. And they were just such smart people. I loved sitting at a table and having a conversation with them. And then we had our contact named Jim, and he's Senegalese. And he is a counselor and pastor. And he invited us, or the teachers really, because he wanted to bring awareness to the church of trauma and bring awareness that art can help heal that trauma. And what does it look like to actually walk through trauma and to walk and learn and not just be push it aside. And so he was super cool, super intelligent man as well. And I'm really grateful that he was able to host this conference and invite us to come. And so while I was there, I mentioned that I felt like my body was behind my mind in my trauma. I felt like I would still get anxious, still get cold, and like my body was still reacting to something that I felt like my mind wasn't reacting to anymore. My mind was completely numb to it, but my body wasn't. And so mentioned that to, and the counselor, Karen, the one that works with SIL, was like, oh, like that's normal, like I can teach you some things and we can work on it together. And I was like, okay. So we started working, and she started doing this thing with me called EMDR. And it's where you follow fingers and it's the same idea of art therapy. You're trying to connect your left brain to your right brain. So your body and your mind, like trying to connect them in order to, heal both of them together. And so it was obviously super emotional for me, and still is. I actually switched to her as a counselor and continued to work with her because I wanted to grow more in this area, and I just didn't feel like talking about it anymore with my counselor would really help, because talking about it wasn't the problem. It was still just there, And so I have now started counseling with her, and that has revealed things like what God keeps saying about you can't have victory without the war. Like, I keep thinking about that, and I keep thinking about how deep my wound actually is, and that this trauma specifically has set me back, but that my wound goes back to a further time long ago in my life, and that my reaction is the same, that I become numb to the trauma. Like, I'm able to tell stories, what happened, blah, 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 but I'm not able to, but I can dissociate my mind, the stories first, from my actual reaction, my bodiness, my emotions. I can separate the two. And so I could tell you a story of my testimony and things, and you would think that I'm completely healed, but my body is really just completely numb to it. There are things that are healed, of course, but bringing this to attention, like with the EMDR and things, and my reactions to things, like my reaction has been to be numb for such a long time, and to freeze, and to just not react to anything. And so, Karen has started to help me work through that, and I'm trying and I'm growing, and she's helping, but it's very difficult because my brain is really fighting my body, and but Jesus is helping, and we are growing, and we are moving in the right direction, I think. So Senegal was a blessing.